hurry up and queue up all those units to attack these buildings already, or else coMaBlaCk here is gonna have a time to respond to that. As we are seeing right now, coMaBlaCk is responding. Wait, is he? Oh, he just realized right now that his base is being attacked, and Semtex here is going for this gateways, which is, I think, not the best building to attack, but still a good idea. I think he should go for this Nexus though first, because that's gonna stop his economy and gonna hurt coMaBlaCk's economy really bad if he did go for that. As we are seeing some warp units by coMaBlaCk, but his main ball of units hasn't arrived yet. It's just about to arrive, and here we go. They're finally arriving, and I don't think Semtex has enough units to counteract all these the stalkers and Zealot coming up from the rear. It is not looking good for Semtex right now. He could have just walked back, I guess, and just crawled back into that Novice room, but it's not gonna happen, as he is gonna lose all of his units, and it's not gonna be looking good right now for Semtex, as all those units did go down. Wow, that's a pretty good way to use a Novice room, but it's not really efficient way to use the Novice room, as it did go down to the army, and finally this overlord is moving away, playing safe, as Semtex here just lost a ton of units. See, 24 units compared to 15 units lost by Semtex, which is not really bad actually. Then again, that's mostly his army right there. I mean, that's all his army. That's all that he has. And if coMaBlaCk would attack right now, Semtex wouldn't be able to defeat it, as Phoenixes here are gonna take down this overlord finally, causing that major ruckus here at the main base of coMaBlaCk. And 3 more gateways going down for coMaBlaCk. He is pretty upset by that harass, and he's just gonna mass up on his gateway units. Stalker Zealots all the way, which is not a bad idea at all in this situation like this. And looking at that numbers, wow. Even though if you have some ultralights at your main base, this is still a scary army to attack with. And if you add some High Templars to that mix, damn, that's gonna be scary at all. Or some Dark Templars. Even some Dark Templars can do some really good harassing. And with these Phoenixes in the outskirts, it's gonna be a good match, and a pretty advantage one for the Protoss player, as we see this high yield being taken, but it's not really fully saturated yet. Well, at least the gold minerals are being saturated pretty good. I want to see some assimilators here going up pretty soon from him, as he will be gas blocked soon. Well, I guess not. He is at 2000 gas right now, so he doesn't really need those gas right now. So coMaBlaCk here showing some textbook macro on his part. Good job. And right now we're just seeing both players just massing up on their units. Let's see the production tab. You see Semtex here just making all those hydras. I would really suggest him make more of these drones first, because he's kind of forgetting to make those drones, and it's not gonna look good for his economy. And right now he has a ton of gas. Wow, you don't want to see that when you're playing a Zerg, because that's not looking good for you. That means you're not making any units or any fighting units at all, because Semtex is gonna take out this Phoenix, because Zerg units are really gas intensive, and if you're not using those gas pretty well, then you're not playing Zerg very well. And I guess that just shows the difference in the level of Diamond League players and the Platinum League players, as we see 4 more gateways here being made for coMaBlaCk. So now we have 4 and 7, so it's 11 warp gates for coMaBlaCk. Wow, that's gonna be a really dominating fact for coMaBlaCk, and he can just really counter up all those units, as we're gonna see a fight over here going down. These hydralisks are gonna take down all these zealots, but these coMaBlaCk here doesn't really notice this, and finally he does, as he set those stalkers attacking those units. And Semtex there is in a really bad position right now, losing those queens, and is about to lose all these hydralisks, but he is still fighting, and he might still be able to do it. But again, these stalkers, there's just too many of them right now, and with these phoenixes, maybe he could try to lift up some of those hydralisks, and those hydralisks are gonna go down. 5 more hydralisks in here compared to these 8, 9 stalkers here. And finally, those phoenixes lifting up one of those hydralisks. And coMaBlaCk, yeah, taking out all those units. Wow. So this is not really looking good again for Semtex. We are in a pretty disadvantaged stage for Semtex right now, as he doesn't even have this high yield yet compared to coMaBlaCk right now. And coMaBlaCk here just raking up all those money. Let's look at the income tab, as we see 68 harvesters for coMaBlaCk compared to 28 only by Semtex, which clearly shows the difference in macroing up and in the unit production. So I guess this is a pretty disadvantage again for our Zerg player, because he's not really doing a macroing up pretty well, because he's not making drones and such, which he clearly should, and he clearly could, because he has 600 minerals right now. There's no reason to not make all those drones. And he has all these idols, larvas right here, which is never really good. But here we go again. Are we gonna see a fight break out, or the closer attack soon enough for coMaBlaCk, as he can clearly take over this army of Semtex right here? Unless Semtex here can do some amazing microing and such, or amazing transfusion being used. So again, not looking good for our Zerg player. And Semtex here, what's that? Angry face. I guess he knows that it's not really looking good for him right now, as he really should make some more drones. That's gonna be a big factor in his defeat, as we see that he's not really using any more larvas right now. He's only making Zerglings, not even making drones or hydras anymore. He knows that he's out of gas, but it's not even using this extractor. Wow, I just noticed that, and I'm pretty bad. I just noticed that, so that's probably one of the reasons why he's losing right now. He's not even mining fully saturated out of these 2 bases. As for coMaBlaCk here, fully saturated in the natural, almost done in the net and the main base, and it's gonna be already saturating this high yield of his, with four gateways and 2 robotics facility going down here for coMaBlaCk. Finally, are we gonna see some Colossus here in the late game? I don't know if they're gonna even make it, because a fight may break out here right now, as we see tons of zealots here, and zealots are really strong against hydralisks. But here we go, these Zerglings coming in first, and it's not really gonna do much against all these zealots, which are much more powerful. And those stalkers finally coming into the scene, as these hydralisks are stuck in this choke. This is not really looking good for him. He should really even out those hydralisks and just move him back one by one, and make those Zerglings come in first, as those hydralisks are gonna go down one by one to these dashing zealots. And finally, these Heart Templars going down some storms. Awesome storms. Those storms are really hurting all of Semtex units, as those storms really are effective against Zerg right now. And we see zealots here just taking over, not even using the stalkers here. My god, that's a pretty good GG for Semtex. What a pretty dominating battle one more time for coMaBlaCk. But I like the early push that Semtex did with his Nidus Worm here. Pretty creative, But I wish that he took out this Nexus first, because that's really gonna affect his economy, rather than destroying one or two of these gateways, which aren't really gonna do that much because he can just easily rebuild those. But if we take down this Nexus, it would be awesome. It would really affect coMaBlaCk's economy in the long run. But it's still a good game. High level players. Finally, we're seeing some high level players in Novice maps, and pretty excited to watch the third game. And I'll see you guys there. Hope you like this one.